faith for deliverance, confidence enough to assess new disposition. Seekers of lost paradise may seem fools to those who never sought the other world. Welcome to Momentary Zen with Zen Garcia. Visit www.fallenangels.tv. You're listening to Revolution Radio.
Hello and welcome, friends. Thank you for joining us for another live broadcast. It's my great honor and privilege to share this platform of truth with you, no matter where you may be and whichever part of the earth plane. This is definitely some strange times, and we are moving quickly towards the agenda of the New World Order and all that they've been planning and preparing and orchestrating. And there's a lot of people that are standing themselves up to fight against it and to sound the trumpet to do the work of the kingdom. And tonight I'm joined by one of those, a good friend of ours, and also has been supporting us in Patreon and been part of our group as far as the Sabbath broadcast, even though we know that Sabbath is truly defined by the lunation, the cycle, and the phases of the moon, but we still have our weekly Saturday gatherings for the Digital Readers Club, and Zach has been part of that for a very long time, and so I'm honored to have him to join us this evening as guests. Zach, are you there, brother?
Yes, I'm here. Thank you, brother, for having me on.
Yeah, it's I'm honored to have you as far as the family that we've come to develop and join and have study all these ancient manuscripts. And so I think it's cool that we can give you a voice and that you're doing the work that you're doing and helping to break down some of our very lengthy broadcasts, because we're doing 4 6 hours a week, and you're actually taking some of those segments and um, bringing them to the TikTok and other audiences and narrowing those perspectives and sharing, really focused as far as messages. So we appreciate you doing that. And so, if you would, can you talk a little bit about that, and then share the links and the whatever social media you'd like for people to find what you're doing and support you in your endeavors.
Yeah, definitely. So, yeah, my name's Zach Lewis, and I have a TikTok account called Z Lewis. That's Lewis. That's 7770, and that is on TikTok. And I started making TikTok accounts. Sorry, those are my kids. They're about to be put to bed, but
It's all good. I didn't
um,
even hear him. So
Uh, well, so I started making TikTok videos because I've been a very long time listener of you, and so I started making smaller segments of your clips, and I kind of just started small and kind of just slowly grew the following account on TikTok, and eventually one of the videos blew up and reaching about 10 million people, and yeah, after that it was pretty much history. I think I had a calling given by our Father that I was somehow some way I was able to reach the youth of our generation, because no one wants to none of the youth anymore can sit down and listen to a full segment video.
right.
And so I thought if I could make a little a little snippet of the good stuff out of these videos that I've learned so much from, I could wake more people up.
Yeah, and you've been doing that, and 10 million people. That's quite an outreach. That is certainly viral. Um, and so, if you would, how long have you been, and really what inspired you? You said you've been a longtime listener as far as our work and our message. So, can you share some of the details of that as well?
Yeah. So I started listening to you a long time, pretty much before you got into the flat Earth topic, where
Uh
you used to read the full scripts of like the Book of Thought or the Emerald Tablets of Thought, different things like that, where you would read the whole script, and I thought they were so interesting, and kind of my whole journey into truth was I never really cared for the Bible. I looked at it like it was something created to keep us in check,
huh.
until I started really seeing all the evil in the world, and I started really seeing that the people in positions of power and also in the music industry and television, they worship, they worship this evil entity. And looking more into that, finding out about the New World Order and different things like that, I determined that there is something evil that these people are worshiping, and I ran to the Bible. And so I started a TikTok account probably 3 years ago. And at first I just started because I was watching all your videos, and you always had those really, really cool pictures going on the slide by. And so I started taking a little bit of the pictures and making it into slide video, like a actual video. And I put, some truth seeking music in the background to catch the younger audience, and it really worked. So I grew a following about 20,000. I had about 20,000 followers after about a year or two. And then I started really implementing the people that influenced me in my awakening journey, like mostly you, Rob Skiba, Nathan Reynolds, Robbie Davison, Parable of the Vineyard, all these different people. I started taking little sections of their videos and putting them in there. And one of the videos of Rob Skiba was the one that blew up. Well, I kind of recreated the video because it was an idea of Rob Skiba is the one that actually reached 10 million.
Tell us more about that.
Yeah,
What was the focus, and what was the message? Um,
yeah. So it was it was mainly concerned about the Paramount logo,
ah,
where on yeah, it was where Rob Skiba always, he always mentioned that, in the book of Enoch, there were 22 chief angels amongst the 200 that went around the Mount Hermon. Well, in the
right.
Paramount logo, there's 22 stars that go around the actual the mountain in the in the enter right before the movie starts playing. But if you actually break it down, it does the same thing that the Bible describes that the Spirit does. These fallen angels come out of heaven, they start hovering over the water, and then they form around the mountain.
Very interesting. And yeah, a lot of the Hollywood movies and the iconography, the symbolism that they choose, it seems to be connected to the fallen angels, to the scientism, the globe, things like that. And so that's very interesting. And so, are you saying that Rob was actually speaking about the symbolism, and or was it
Well,
just something that? Go
well,
ahead.
Rob spoke about it before on many videos, and I
Yeah.
always had the idea in my mind, but no one actually put it into a video format with the logo in the background kind of playing. And that's kind of what I did. I put the logo
Nice.
in the background and explained it as it was going through, and then I
Awesome.
yeah, and then also because he actually Rob bounced off an idea that David Flynn had about the actual coordinates of Mount Hermon using the Terrace Prime Meridian is actually 33 degrees north and 33 degrees
Right.
east. But you only can determine that using the Terrace Prime Meridian, which was what they used back then. And
Uh-huh.
so once I like put those two together, I put that at the very end of the video, and yeah, it totally blew up. And I actually had like people that had PhD PhDs and stuff like that that were trying to debunk me that were, Hebrew experts and stuff like that. It was kind of fun.
Yeah, that's very interesting. But yes, Dave, for people that might not know, David Flynn and his work on Cydonia, which that book is very difficult to get hold of now, but he broke down, as far as the coordinates, and he wasn't familiar with the biblical cosmology. That was all before, I think, his passing, but he did section off the sky and connected to certain latitude and longitude and showed that connection, and found, again, that Mount Hermon was at that 33-degree parallel, which is intriguing since that's one of the Masonic, the secret societies and the supposedly the highest level degree, even though that seems to be the beginning of um, the journey where the Masons and those that are in these secret societies openly declare and know, and share, in their initiation and the rituals that the light bearer Lucifer, that's their god, and the lower degrees, 32 and below, they seem to not understand that fully, even though it's, in their writings, even Morals and Dogma and Albert Pike, and he and they're not trying to hide anything, but certainly when you get into the higher degrees, spitting on the cross and all the things that they're doing in ritual, that should be an indication as to, their feelings. And even the Freemasons, the Templars, were said to be involved and committed to doing a lot of abomination as ritual, and that's what got them in trouble, supposedly, and outed them as to, their true affiliation, because they wear the cross, but they're certainly not lovers of the Messiah, and their intent to get and gain access to Jerusalem was for the wealth of Solomon, which, they it seems that was a success for them, and they were able to utilize that money and the treasure, and the wealth, to really blow up uh, their group and their secret society connections. So
Yeah, it's amazing, honestly, how to see in all the the TVs you got TVs, video games, movies, music. It's in everything, and it literally takes the unveiling of the eyes. The father has to actually determine this for people. I think that the more they seek, the more the scales will fall off. And yeah, when I was looking through into that video, also Rob Skiba, you know seeing that 1/3 of the angels fell in the beginning. Well, what is
yes,
1/3? Multiplied down, it's 33, 30, 33 all the way through. And it's very significant that they hide, they pretty much hide the truth right in our face. And it's kind of like it's like a kind of a mocking. They are mocking us with the truth. And maybe, I don't know if there is anything in an extra biblical book that determines that they have to do that. That would be interesting to find out.
I think that is part of the protocols, that they declare, because they say that in doing so, that then they are not responsible. It's almost like, you know um, a, a bastardized rendition of the Ezekiel watchman's parable, where, we are told to sound the trumpet and let not innocent blood be upon us, but to declare the truth and to bring forth the truth of the gospel, and also to bring forth the warning of those things that are coming and what has been prophetically revealed to the prophets over the time and ages, but they think of us as the useless eaters and the masses as just the dumb sheeple. And if they just openly declare what they're going to do and hide it all in plain sight, that they're not responsible for our idiocy, and so that it's okay for them to commit and do the evil and bring on the slaughter of innocents and bring forth massive atrocities, and that in some manner they're not responsible and will find redemption or forgiveness for doing so. But yeah, it's a twisted and a weird way to think, but
Yeah.
that is what it is for them. Um, yeah, and we again do appreciate you taking the time to uh, pull out these different messages. And you were speaking about the youth and the generation as far as the young minds that are coming up now, and without a doubt, people need. I mean, the youth need guidance and need direction, and they do have short term focus and attention span, and because of that, um, they it's almost like a video game mindset. They can't
Mhm.
uh, sit down and listen to a 2 hour broadcast. And it's not that, we are only trying to put out broadcasts of that length. It just happens that over time and years, I was pulled on to these different shows that happen to be 2 hour slots. And so that's just what I got used to doing. And having to fill that time, you really have to bring forth a lot of information, and so
Yeah. Yeah.
um,
And you run out of time most of the time.
yeah, yeah, and I have to do even series.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. It's
but
go ahead.
I was just gonna say, and that's one of the reasons why in the past I decided to share and to read from things like the Emerald tablets and things that had length, because I wanted people to not only uh, hear the information, to have access to it, but to have an archive that would memorialize those kind of teachings and have it archived for people to, and no matter at whatever point that there would be somewhere that they can go to find it and hear it and listen to it. And so
Yeah, yeah. The amazing thing about the app TikTok, one, it is destroying our youth because it puts out these little videos that it's an endless consumption of videos, one after the other. Just keep scrolling up until you're up at 5 in the morning. There's a downside, but it's just like the internet. There's a downside, but there also is a good side, and there's a option on TikTok where you can save the video, and this is why
oh,
things
nice.
get so famous. So you can, or get so viral, you can actually save the video and then repost it, or you could share it, and that will save to your phone or your computer or wherever you're saving it to. And a lot of people get their stuff deleted that are into the stuff that we are into, but
Right.
before they delete it, you could save it, and a lot of people are kind of beating the system that way. And it's awesome. Because I started with like little pictures with like giant remains, mounds, and different archaeologist type of stuff of the Bible. And I always put some Destiny Lab in the background, and
Oh,
it,
yeah.
it blew up, man. It definitely blew up. And then, yeah, eventually just started breaking down your guys' videos, and then, yeah, and then really getting into breaking down everyone else's videos and trying to spread the knowledge as much as I can. And I've met some great some great TikTokers that are actually out there. There's a lot more than you think. They're out there sounding the horn. You know, they are trying to warn the people that, you know, the sword is coming.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are starting to take on that responsibility, like yourself, and especially for people that, because a lot of our listeners have done that. Uh, Jared Allen and others, many others over the years have begun to not only share a lot of the ancient manuscripts, which most people had not heard about. Even Adam Fink, speaking about and sharing the Targum, and Rob did a lot of that as well in the work that we did together. And there's so much information to consider. So it's awesome to see people open up um, and embrace new things because again there is so much out there, and that as far as the TikTok, with 15 minutes long or even shorter, that you can, download those segments really quickly and sharing them. And as you said, for a lot of information that gets deleted, for people to be downloading them and to save them and share them, that a lot of information does get lost and is um, purposely deleted and hidden. And so it's good that there's others out there that are grabbing it, and uh, downloading it and making it, um, putting it away for themselves and sharing it with others. We definitely need that. And so now I know you said that you were also doing this for um, Skiba Nation, and also that you're doing this for Nathan Reynolds as well. And so it's awesome that you're continuing to develop and are being asked to do these kind of things. But would you talk about um, some of the information and some of the videos and some of the other things that you've done that have also brought on a lot of interest, and then afterwards we'll go into kind of your journey and what led you to truth and the knowledge that you have now.
Yeah. Yeah. So, like I said, when I first started, I was just doing pictures that were kind of sliding by with music in the background. But then I started branching out and, you know, getting fuller videos with mostly you guys because you have an endless amount of content. So I just, you know,
Right.
I literally just started anywhere. And, you know, through you, I met all these different other great speakers, and, you know, I started posting their things as well. And one of the videos that I started was a series about the garments of power and the rod of wonder, and that reached about 50,000 people, and it was amazing.
Nice.
It definitely was an amazing teaching. You know, I kind of broke it down, made my own video. I found a beautiful painting that someone painted of Moses carrying a sapphire stick with the name of God in it. So I used
Oh,
that as the.
that's
It was
awesome.
yeah, it was awesome. I'll definitely send you the picture. I think it's a painting. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I'd
But I
love
used
to
that.
see that.
Yeah. So I used that as the background, and I kind of went through and then I explained how the story of King Arthur, that's actually the story of Moses pulling the rod out of
Right.
the, you know, out of Jethro's garden. And
Right.
that's, you know, that eventually blew up and brought a lot of people to that type of knowledge. Also, you know, serpent seed, that was one thing that I was kind of teetering on the releasing that type of information because you could tell that there was a big contention against serpent
Right.
seed, but
Yeah.
now it's really starting to open up. You still have some people that, you know, come against it, but it's really starting to open up now. There's actually a thing called in TikTok. It's like a hashtag where you can hashtag anything, and it will put it in its own group. And the hashtag for serpent seed is up to 500 or 50 million. So there's a lot of people looking
Wow.
into it. Yeah.
That's awesome. It's great to hear, because I've been talking about and speaking about and covering this for so long, and it's self evident to me. I mean, I don't understand how people really can even understand Genesis and what happened in the garden without considering the bloodlines and the lineages and their connections to what's going on in this day and age. The parable of the wheat and the tares, the goat and the sheep. There's so much connected to it, and how people can deny it is just bizarre to me, but so many do.
Yeah, and so yeah, eventually, I just kept making videos like that. I put your the flat Earth court case on there as well. That really blew up, and I definitely put a lot of Rob Skiba in it. Yeah, Rob Skiba was a huge influence on my awakening journey,
Yeah.
and a lot of Rob Skiba was already kind of popular on TikTok. People were already breaking his stuff down and
Uh-huh.
putting it up. But yeah, I'm glad to say that I think I'm making an impact on TikTok now. I am getting censored relentlessly. I My videos used to reach 100 million per video. Now they reach
Wow.
about Now they reach about, or sorry, not 100 million. Sorry, 100,000. Excuse me.
Oh,
Um,
still, yeah, it's a lot.
yeah, but now they only reach up to like 5,000 if I'm lucky. Yeah, they really clackle down on the chains with that, and also I'm losing followers daily. I lose about I have it confirmed through pictures and stuff like that that I'm actually losing about 1,000 followers a month. So yeah,
Yeah,
they have
they're
the
unsubscribing and all that.
yep, yeah.
They
So
do
they
the
have the
same to us.
yeah,
Have
yeah. I
been
mean,
for a very long time.
as and you've been on there for a while, and most of the craziest thing is that all these people that are coming up in the truth movement are starting to talk about the stuff that you've talked about for 7 8 years now. I mean,
Yeah.
this stuff's been out, and I'm coming at it with the knowledge that you brought, and I'm releasing it, and a lot of people, they're like, where are you getting this from? I'm like, it's been out here, man. You guys are
Right.
just waking up to it now.
Yeah, that's for me, that's confirming witness to the truth of the things that I've been covering and speaking about. Just like with the Thracian Chronicles, all of that material coming forth and um, having it speak about not only serpent seed and preexistence, and but also the Holy Spirit being the feminine aspect of the Godhead. I mean, there's so much that is coming out through the Thracian Chronicles, and now there's all the epistles too. And I need to actually reach out to Stella, but she did send me some of the epistles, the Thracian epistles, the translations of them. So I need to do a show at some point and share some of that information, because again, it just covers all of this and is an ancient confirming witness to the things that I've been doing for a very long time. And the story that is related in them about how um, these ancient manuscripts were dug up. They were, led by the word of the Lamb, led the Thracian priest king Orphe um, to find them in a very ancient city where the children of Noah had buried them, and then he was given, like Joseph, the knowledge to be able to read them and to translate them and to make them available to the people of his generation. It's the story is mind blowing, and it shows how that information was passed on and shared on the ark, on Noah's ark, and also how it survived even the antediluvian flood. I mean, and so this is ancient, very, very, very ancient testimony, and it also confirms, which I think is so critical to understand, that the Bible was not plagiarized, and that Christian beliefs were not stolen from the Sumerian traditions or Egyptian, but that the Thracian predated them by several thousand years. And that, to me, is just such critical knowledge. Uh, and most people don't even understand. They don't even know what the Thracian stuff is yet. And so, yeah, all that we've been blessed to be a part of and blessed to be able to share, having the bishop actually share a segment where he recorded a message for the conference. I mean, just this is all just mind blowing stuff. But can you tell us, let's go back. What I don't know how old you were when 9/11 happened, and if that was, any kind of a catalyst for you. But what was it, and how was your journey to awakening? Can you kind of take us down that path?
Yeah, so I was actually very young when 9/11
I figured.
happened. Yeah, I think I was in kindergarten. I just remember them shoving
Oh
us in the
goodness.
basement. Yeah, all I remember is them shoving us in the basement, and that's kind of pretty much it. And they wouldn't let my mom come pick us up. I remember that. But um, so for my awakening journey, started when I was pretty young. I had a sense that something was going to happen. I grew up. I had a pretty rough upbringing. My mom and dad were both alcoholics and drug addicts, and so I got took. Me and my brother got taken off my mom at a very young age, and we spent most of our time in placement until some of our family came out and got us out of there. Well, when we were about teenagers, but we still spent a good deal of time in placement. So I kind of grew up having nothing and had to fend for myself. So once I started being able to get a job and actually get things for myself. I always wanted to be able to protect myself just in case. So I
Uh,
kind of slid down the doomsday prepper side of things, and I was looking into the New World Order, the Illuminati, and at a very young age, around like 10, 11, 12, sitting in placement, they would take you to the library and you were able to go on the computer. And so I would kind of just research, or not research, but just look into things. And something was interesting, I kind of went down the little rabbit hole, but it really didn't start really opening up because I was so kind of against the Bible because I didn't understand it. And it
uh,
really took you, because I first started listening to you because of the ancient mysteries and the knowledge, the hidden knowledge. And I came across you, and then I found out about Rob Skiba, and then Rob Skiba put it into perspective that the mythology was actually real. So all the ancient
yeah,
history that we've been taught as fairy tales and mythology, they were actually real. They actually happened. And I've always been a history buff, so that totally blew my mind. I ran to the Bible, I read it, and I didn't understand it. And then I heard about the Book of Enoch, so I read the Book of Enoch, and it was like a key. It literally unlocked the whole entire Bible for me, and
that's
totally going through the whole Bible with the knowledge of the Book of Enoch, and then I kind of had to do a spin back when because I was listening to you at the time, and then a whole nother theory got thrown into it, was flat Earth, and I had to reevaluate everything.
right.
And but it was a great awakening experience. Even through all the stuff that I've been through, I had a lot of people die in my life. I'm only 29 years old, but
Oh
I've been to
wow.
more yeah I've been to more funerals than weddings, so to speak. So
Uh,
a lot of my generation is being plagued with drug addiction and
right,
depression, and a lot of people are taking their lives, and a lot of people are using drugs to end their life as well. And
right.
my sister was one of them. She didn't want to live anymore, so she used
Oh man, I'm sorry
drugs
to hear
to thank you.
that.
But yeah, that was one of the driving forces for me to actually look into this stuff, because with the Catholic notion of if you kill yourself, you go to hell. And so
Yeah.
I wanted to find out for myself. So I dug through all the extra biblical, and that's kind of when I found you. Is right around, we're kind of around that time, and you just had a whole entire list of just all these different books to read and research. So I dug into that, and as I was going into my, my awakening, all these things started happening that were really bad. Like two of my best friends died in the same year, and then my dad and my sister died in the same year, and then it kind of eased up a little bit after a couple years after that, and then I had another best friend, and then I just more of this. I feel it was an attack, you know, but
Yeah.
also it is the world we live in, So and
Right.
ended up losing my best friend, which was my cousin at the time, which wasn't very long ago, which was very hard, but I'm persevering and I'm just continuing to seek the light. That's the only thing I can really do.
Well, that's awesome, brother. And um, you're an example for others, and I'm sure that people that are going to listen to this show and hear this archive, they're going to be able to relate to your journey because unfortunately, that is a large part of what is the experience of today's, um, as far as teenagers and those that are coming up. It's a lot of the parents that should be focused on bringing up the children that they bring into the world. They're kind of caught up and mesmerized by the things of the world, and especially the drugs. And the drugs nowadays are so much harder and so much more influential on people's lives, and all consuming as well. It's not like when I grew up in the generation before me, alcohol was kind of the hardest thing. And then in my generation, in following the Grateful Dead, there was marijuana and some of the psychedelics and stuff, but there was nothing like the heroin and the fentanyl and all that is plaguing the streets. And uh, even the marijuana now is very strong, and affects people at very deep levels. And so I've seen, a lot of the videos, and you can see this all on YouTube, of just entire populations of people. There's huge homeless populations now, and especially on the West Coast in California, Oregon, and Washington, Seattle and Portland and San Francisco and other places where they're kind of even supporting the drug habits of the community. They allow them to be there and to not prosecute them, not arrest them if they have a certain amount. And we're talking about not just marijuana, but methamphetamines and heroin and things like that. And so the police are not able to kind of fight against these things, and there's no rehabilitation built into the system to truly provide an answer and to help people get off of these drugs and these lifestyles and the crime that they are um, committing just to support their habits. It's a really unfortunate thing for everywhere in the world, and we know that after the whole war on terror, where America went into Afghanistan, that the Taliban had pretty much eradicated the whole, as far as farmers farming the opium and the heroin and producing all of that. And things just blew up after we went there. And um, I believe the CIA and other clandestine organizations, they got involved with the manufacture and the distribution and the shipments of a lot of that stateside. And yeah, and ever since that time, it's really affected large populations of people. And now there's addicts just
Yeah.
everywhere, so that the emergency workers, they're having to use Narcan more than they are in, doing like firefighters, police officers. They're more having to fight against all the drugs and the influence of all that on the streets, rather than fighting crime or saving lives. And as far as fires and stuff, but these are
Yeah.
definitely weird times. But yeah, let me
It is.
give you a
Sorry, go
chance
ahead.
to comment. No, go ahead.
No, it is crazy, and that's why I definitely think that you could see the times. The end times are
Right,
near, and if you're not seeing that, I grew up around drugs my whole life. I was always around it as a kid. I was constantly submerged in it. I grew up around it, and even when I went to these placements, they were still drugs peddling everywhere. But if you're really around someone that's on drugs and they do you so wrong, or they do something to you that really hurts your feelings, and you could sit there and just be like, how could they ever do that to someone that they loved? It's not them. This is a spiritual battle that we are
right,
contending against. And yes, that these physical things, that once you take these physical things, but that is like a doorway. You open as soon as you take that, you open that doorway, and once that doorway is open, they are free to roam in and out. I've
right,
seen I've seen some of the best people turn totally evil. I've seen people that loved and cared for me do the most disgusting, vile things. And I honestly, I knew in my heart that it wasn't them, but I didn't really see that until reading the scriptures and finding out that, in the end times, the whole world will be deceived by sorcery. And if you look up what
right.
sorcery means,
Pharmakia.
and it's pharmakia, and
Yes,
that's where we get our word pharmacy. So that tells you everything of what is going to happen in these end times. And that's what's happening. And that's why I wanted to make this TikTok account, was to reach the youth of the people, my family, my friends. And I'm watching everyone drowned, and that no one knows why. Everyone's depressed. No one really knows what's going on. And so I created the TikTok to spread the truth as much as I can, so their blood are not on my hands.
right. Well, it's amazing to me that you were able to come through and survive even what you have gone through and what you have spoken about here in this broadcast. And so, again, like I said, I think that you're going to be, an aura, that light on the top of the hill, which so many people are, as they're going through the tunnels, they're looking for the light at the end of the tunnel. And I think you're a beacon for them, and you're going to help a lot of people. And, your generation, they need to know that there is a way and that there is hope. And I myself, when I was younger, I'm 53 years old now. But when I was younger, I doubted also everything that, with regard to the scriptures and to Christianity and the Bible. And I went into all, as far as the study of the New Age, and read all the Zachariah Sitchin teachings and all of that, as far as the Sumerian mythologies and lore. And it wasn't until I was led to the Book of Enoch that I really began to understand the mythology, because the Book of Enoch is the key. It's the silicon key for unlocking all of that ancient past. How the fallen angels rebelled against the Most High, their interactions with the children of men, and especially the daughters of Cain, the creation of a race of giants, the demigods of old, um, how that led to, because we see now in the archaeological record in the geological record. There's even now in this day and age, so many hundreds of years after, the skeletons of giants are still being found. The megalithic sites and structures that the oral traditions, the native and the indigenous people speaking about, well, these things were said to be created by giants. You know, all the mud flood stuff now with the Tartarian Empire, and even looking at Petra and seeing the massive archways and doorways, and how it seems like those were places inhabited by giants. So the truth of the scripture comes out in that regard as well. The whole idea of evolution and what they try to get us to buy into, that we evolved as monkeys, or that the fallen angels are we were created in their image. All of that, when you understand that the Bible is 100% accurate and 100% prophetic, and that it speaks about all of these things. And also how in the times that we are in now, are being the fig tree generation and being at the end of days, that there would be a strong delusion because there's no love of the truth, and that even the most elect could be deceived should it be possible. The As in the days of Noah, those kind of things. Um, Without a doubt, we are learning so much and having to consider so much, and especially your generation. They're hungry for the truth. They want guidance. They want true direction. Um, but there's voices out there, but most of them don't know who they are or where to go to find that truth. And so it's awesome that you're sharing it, and that you're breaking it down for people, and that you're doing the work that you're doing, to bring it forth to those that really are in need of answers.
Yeah, no, thank you, brother. I appreciate you for bringing it out, because if it wasn't for you guys, the ones with these platforms that are putting in the work and putting out all this information, if it wasn't for you guys, I honestly, I don't know. The Father has His ways, so I
Right.
know He woke me up for a reason, and I'm just trying to fulfill what He has for me on this earth. Praise Yah. So, also, what was something interesting you said about the giant mounds. I'm from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and there is a mound in a place called in the McKees Rocks area. And now this mound was the biggest mound in or it was the biggest mound in Pennsylvania. And when they found it in the 1800s, it was massive, and they started digging into it, and you could actually find this story in Giants on Record by the Rivera, Jim Rivera and High Newman. But in their discoveries, it shows that I believe it was the Smithsonian that came in
Yeah.
and was excavating. And when they excavated in the diagram in the actual Smithsonian, when they finished totally doing everything, they wrote in the description of the giant, or in the bones, that these were giant bones, at least up to 8 to 12 feet tall. And it totally, all of it got dismissed, and they leveled it and made it a baseball field. And
Yeah, of course.
one of the videos, I actually made a video about that on TikTok, where I go to they actually have a small portion of the mound there that says, no climbing, sacred ground. But if you actually go and look in the old newspapers, it actually covered the whole entire baseball field. And it's fascinating that, this is real history that is all around us. All you got to do is go out and look, get off the black mirrors for a couple days and totally just immerse yourself out into the wilderness. And that I'm real passionate about going out and learning things and seeking things. I'm a seeker of lost paradise, and I'm looking for anything. I would love to find Indian arrowheads, or just anything. But finding out that there was a mound very close to my house, it was amazing to find out.
Yeah, they're everywhere. They are literally everywhere. And I want to thank you, Yvette Tres Palacios. I understand your journey, sister, and your struggle. I went through it years ago myself, and so she said that she has been delivered and that she wanted to share her testimony with those that are in the chat. Um, and so, thank you, sister, for
Praise
doing
Yah.
so. And yes, praise the Most High. Um, and that kind of thing. Is possible. And for me, um, when I was younger, I did look to uh, plants, especially marijuana. When I was younger, it allowed me and helped me initially in my journey to kind of commune with the Most High. But I think that people have to learn to let those kind of things go when you reach a certain point, when they start to destroy your life, or if you develop habits or routines, especially if they're harmful for the body or for the mind. That it's a good thing to be clean and not addicted to or dependent upon anything. And I think that that's the kind of mindset that the Most High wants from all of us. And I do think that it can help a lot of people, especially with soldiers with PTSD and that are struggling with a lot of different things, and especially cancer patients, and with appetite and sleep. And I think that different plants can be beneficial, and they're much better than pharmakia. Uh, but for me personally, I made a choice long ago that I didn't want to be dependent upon anything, and wanted to have a clear mind. And also, I just think, again, that the medicinal marijuana is just so strong. But a lot of people are starting to use the edibles, and